Welcome back, third graders. Let's get our brains ready for our next purpose as readers. If we look up in the left-hand corner of our page, we will find the word vocabulary. Let's read our I can statement. I can identify similes to visualize the events in the story. We will talk more about similes. Let's see what our to-do is for today. You will watch this video, watch similes. You'll click on the link. You already did that if you're watching this. And then number 2, after you participate in this video, you will complete the 11-3 November 3rd Tuesday Similes workbook page. I can't believe it's already November. You could also click on this page to get to your Similes backpack. Okay, let's focus our brains once more. Vocabulary. I can identify similes to visualize the events in the story. So as a reader, I always ask, what does that mean? What are similes? Well, let's see what similes are. Similes. So a simile compares two different things. It uses the word like or as. This is a simile. Her cheeks were like red roses. Okay, so we're comparing two things, very different things, cheeks and red roses. Cheeks are a thing, red roses are a thing. They're not the same thing. They're very different. And then there's that word like. Similes are different from everyday language. Here's another simile. It's raining like cats and dogs. Okay, we are comparing the rain to cats and dogs using the word like. So here's a picture of a girl writing and rereading a story, and she's using similes to help her. See these dots right here in this little bubble? It shows her visualizing it raining cats and dogs. Could you imagine if we were outside and it was really raining cats and dogs? How would that feel if you got hit by a cat or dog when it was raining? Ow, ow. It would be really hard rain, really heavy rain. So a simile is to get the reader to visualize the event in the story. So that brings us right back to our I can statement. I can identify similes to visualize the events in the story. Let's look at a few more examples before we go back into the text. Today, I'm feeling as fresh as a daisy. Okay, I remember similes compare two very different things. I'm is a person, place, or thing. A daisy. So we're comparing a person to a daisy. Now daisies are fresh and alive. So that means I feel fresh and alive or energetic. So this simile helps me to visualize how I feel. I am feeling energetic. John runs as fast as lightning. We are comparing two very different things. John to lightning. We have the word as because in a simile we use the word like or as to compare. And we're comparing John and how he runs to lightning. So if you're like lightning, the speed of light is so fast you barely see it. It happens in the snap of a finger. So we're explaining John as being really quick. So that helps me to visualize how quick John is. John is very quick. Let's look at our next simile. My best friend is as stubborn as a mule. Okay, so we have the stubbornness of my best friend, and we're comparing that to a mule with the word as. So this is a simile, and the purpose of a simile is to help me visualize this event. And I can picture a mule standing still, maybe even going, hee-haw, hee-haw, not listening to what its owner is telling it to do. So mules don't listen. This simile is helping me to visualize that. He never does what someone tells him to do. And our last simile before we go back into the text, after that meal, I feel as fat as a pig. Okay, so we are comparing how I feel to a pig. And I can visualize a pig and how fat a pig is. So that's making me visualize myself as a pig. I better stop eating all those cookies. I am fat. Just a juicier way to express an event to help us readers visualize. So let's go back to that I can statement. I can identify similes to visualize the events in the story. So again, similes help us to do what? You got it. Visualize the events in the story. We are now back in our text, and we already read this text for the gist when we were identifying features of the genre. So we're now going to close read with the purpose to just identify similes. Sailing to America. So I'm going to close read page 121. And I'm going to identify the simile because it's going to try and help me visualize the event that's going on in the text. So I have a simile highlighted here. The trip across the Atlantic Ocean was rough. The air inside the steamship smelled like a dirty sack. So remember, third grade, a simile compares two very different things. Here we are comparing the smell of the steamship to a dirty sack. What does that help you visualize? So the smell of a steamship and a dirty sack makes me have a picture in my head and a feeling in my stomach like I want to gag. Because I now know how bad the steamship probably smells. Let's read on to that next simile that's highlighted. The ship tossed up and down for days. The waves were as big as mountains. Okay, so the purpose of a simile is to compare two very different things using like or as, and it helps us to visualize the events. So we're comparing the size of the waves to mountains. Using the word as, what does that help you to visualize in your head? Yeah, the waves are so tall, it's like looking up at a mountain. Could you imagine a wave being that tall when you're traveling across the ocean? I don't think I would want to be on that ship. Let's read the next paragraph, the very first paragraph on this page. And now it's your turn to identify the simile. One morning, Nora awoke. A moment later, she realized something was different. The ocean was as smooth as glass. What is the simile the author is using? What does that simile help you to visualize? Let's check your thinking. I know that a simile compares two very different things. So I have the ocean was as smooth as glass. We're comparing the ocean to glass, and we have the word as. So that's helping me to visualize how calm the water is. There's no more waves. Now that we've just identified similes to help us visualize the events in the text, you are going to work in your Reading Wonders workbook page. You are going to follow the directions and identify the similes. Good luck and have fun.